Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator news and updates. And today we have a pretty short video today, but some really good information. So stick around, guys, because I don't think you're going to want to miss this, especially if you're waiting on things like the 757. Stick around. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkill's tutorial guides from Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below.
Overkill simulations, watch us as we fly. Overkill simulations, a thrill will never die.
All right, guys, so first up, I want to give a shout out to myself here. The PMDG 777 tutorial guide from none other than Overkill Simulations has finally released and been posted on Patreon. And we also have none other than the Duke coming around the corner. The Duke is just about wrapped up already. I have already been working on it all day today, so I'm hoping within the next day or two it will be out. Everything is going nice and smooth. I'm super excited for that. And then following right after this will be the A380 from Fly-by-Wire will be coming down the line as well. Guys, I want to give a quick apology to all those who have supported me on Patreon. I know that I have been less than active this last year. For those of you who may not know, unfortunately, at the beginning of the year of 2024, I separated from my wife. I am a single father of 3 children who are pretty much with me full time, guys, and it's been quite the adjustment. And unfortunately, a little bit more than what I thought I was ready for at the time. Things have smoothed out. I've got new things scheduled out. I've got new things ironed out, and things seem to be going really, really well and really, really fast now. I've got a really nice schedule. We've also re-brought live streams back to the channel. Those are going to be happening like crazy again, so you guys are going to be able to catch me live a lot this year. So it's really opened up a lot of doors now that I got things ironed out. So to all my Patreon subscribers and supporters, thank you guys so much for all the love that you guys have given me. You guys make a lot of things possible with this household that I could not do without you. And so I promise that we're going to be kicking ass this year and turning a lot of names here. We got multiple aircraft lined up. I have my own list that I have created that I'm going to be snapping on. So once again, we have the 777 PMDG guide that is available right now. The Duke will be, we're doing the piston Duke to start out with, sort of see what the love of that one is, see how it goes. And then I think we're going to add the turbine into it. I don't know if I'll do the Grand Duke because it's pretty similar, but the Duke, the piston Duke is what's being released. It will be out 100%, no ands, if, or buts. It will be out this week. That will be on Patreon as well. And then we will be jumping into the A380 now that it's had some time to mature and develop into an aircraft that we can actually really get moving with. And then following that, I think we're going to jump onto things like the 727. The Trijets are a lot of fun. So we're going to do the Flight Sim Studio Trijet and then probably jump over to something like the MD-11. So anyway, stay tuned for that, guys. Let's get on to the rest of the news. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, very recently FS Labs released an update to their A321 series of aircraft. It actually had a pretty major flaw, unfortunately, or a bug, I should say, in the software, where if you had a very large and packed community folder, it caused multiple issues, including crash to desktops. That has finally been resolved, which that was a big one. And hopefully gives other developers something to think about. I guess I never would have even personally, I would not have thought of that as even being an issue. Like, what does it care what's in there? But apparently with this particular build, it did. They've added quite a bunch of updates to this aircraft as well. FWC 1 and 2 fault logic have been added. Invalid data logic has been improved. The zero fuel weight center of gravity logic has been fixed. Systems power loss distribution fixes. Let's see here. The ATSU detect ACARs, INI missing and log action has been resolved. Rebalanced audio around electronics, engines, flaps, hydraulics, and wind has been resolved. Or I should say rebalanced or reworked. I guess a better way to say that. I wouldn't have said rebalanced, but so essentially what was happening is certain sounds were a lot louder than others than where they should have been is what was going on there. That has been rebalanced to make a more natural environment. So it's not quite an immersion killer. Fixed crash to desktop events. So the multiple crash to desktop issues have been resolved with this aircraft. They added support for connection, open retries. So if it loses connection, it will try to reconnect again. They extended the logging and added to diagnose too many connections. And then they added ECP events, fixed rounding errors in the FCU, smooth transitions between selected and managed modes, so it's not so violent and aggressive as it was. And they added FS events for both HPA and inches. Now, what that does is that gives you better control over your physical hardware. It gives you the ability to actually map those controls and map those events. So that way you can fine tune it on your physical hardware and take advantage of that hardware that you have. For those of you who guys are interested in purchasing this aircraft, which has come a very long way, and FS Labs, by the way, is a wonderful developer, guys. I've never had a bad thing to say about them. I think they do fantastic work. There was an issue way back in the day. I'm not even going to comment on it. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. I'm not particularly worried about that stuff anymore. We all move forward, right? 2025 is a new year, and there's so much cool stuff in the flight simulation. It's not focused on anything bad. FS Labs A321CEO for Microsoft Flight Simulator, which at the moment is 2020, is the way you want to stay, in my personal opinion. You can pick it up for $69.95. It is a high fidelity, or dare I say the word, intended to be a study level aircraft. So keep that in mind. It is going to be one of those aircraft that's fully functional. I would not say it is anywhere near up to the par of the Phoenix A320 right now, but please keep in mind how much longer Phoenix has been at this with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I do remember when Phoenix launched, it was a pretty rough ride on the first couple of releases. At least it was for me. But again, Phoenix is badass. They're another one who kicked ass and turned some heads and smoothed all their issues out. So that's definitely out of the picture now. Phoenix is amazing. So anyways, keep that in mind. Okay, so next up we have a brief teaser from Bluebird Simulations, and unfortunately I wish there was a bit more content to share here after how long it's been, but I get it. It's just gotta be patient. I think this is just me being a little whiny, complaining, you know what, because I'm really excited for the 757. The 757 is a fun aircraft. It's an iconic aircraft. It's really cool. I've always loved the 57 and the 67 series of Boeing aircraft. So with that in mind, they have a few renderings that you guys can see here that sort of, showcasing some of the work they've been doing on the aircraft itself. Nothing too crazy. And I guess my thing is that you guys can see it's definitely in development. I hope that 2025 brings us around a whole lot sooner, because this is an aircraft that we've reported on multiple times over the last year, where development has been announced, and we know that we have the 757, the 767, and the 787 slated from Bluebird Simulations. The 757, you guys can see their teaser updates here, which hopefully it sounds like later on this year or later on early 2025, we should see a video teasings for further development of the aircraft. But like, for example, the 767, they have stated that if we're looking for further information on it, we probably won't see or hear anything much more on it until the Flight Sim Expo in late June of 2025. And then the 787, I'm not even, there isn't any new information on that, which is fine. I really hope they're not trying to tackle all three of these aircraft at the same time. I think that's too much. And that's just for their sake. Like, you got to maintain some mental sanity, man. And that would be like overloading, in my opinion. So I do know that Bluebird is also a very small team. So I'm trying to, give credit where credit is due. But this is like one of those aircraft where it's like, I really hope we get something big from them soon, because again, I want to stress they're an amazing developer. They do really, really good work. They're really fantastic products. It doesn't matter what they put out. It's really good stuff. So I'm super excited for it, but I remember that we were talking about it and they were up on stage at the Flight Sim Expo 2024, and that's where they announced the teaser photos of the 787. So it's like, all right, slow down. Like, let's get the 757, because I've reported on the update for this for a long time. So it's like, come on, guys, let's get it. So I'm crossing my fingers. Hopefully it'll be soon. And again, this isn't to shoot down Bluebird at all. I'm excited for this aircraft. I want it. It'd be nice to see it really soon. So crossing fingers that something changes here quickly. All right, so next up, we have an update from Flight Sim Studio regarding their roadmap, essentially, for 2025, which is pretty cool. So as you guys know, they released the 727 freighter version of the aircraft earlier this year, or this last year, I should say, late last year. Damn year changes. And now what they've announced is that in 2025, we should see the passenger version of the 727 series of aircraft, which would be a lot of fun. They also are looking into releasing the experimental version of the 2024 compatible version of the aircraft as well. Now, part of the things that we should see also in 2025 is an update to the E-Jet series of aircraft, as well as obviously further development into the 727 series of aircraft as well. This is why I'm going to be also doing a guide on this particular aircraft. It's a fantastic plane, you guys. They've done a wonderful job. Flight Sim Studios, I think, is another fantastic developer that we need more of with that caliber. Now, obviously, there's a lineup of fantastic developers for Microsoft Flight Simulators. That's just one of many. I always preface that because anytime I say something like that, someone's like, well, what about this developer and that developer? Yes, I know, they're all fantastic. So one of the things that should be coming with the E-Jet series of updates in 2025 is LNAV and VNAV, as well as the custom FMC that was stated that was going to be released later for those aircraft. It sounds like that's finally in production. They're working on it, and we should see that at some point in 2025. So that would be a nice enhancement. The custom LNAV and VNAV lines for any of the aircraft and any of the developers are such a significant difference from what is defaulted inside of the simulator. And we saw that all the way back to the inception of 2020. Every time that you had a default aircraft or an aircraft that was using the default navigation system or code, I should say, it was always really clunky, always just poor performing. It really was, you always end up fighting with something. Usually you found yourself, using vertical speed and things like that in order to get yourself down fast enough where you needed to be, or up for that matter. So anyway, it'll be really nice to see that come to the E-Jet series of aircraft from Flight Sim Studios. So stay tuned for that in 2025. As always, my friends, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys found it useful, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. Also, make sure to follow me down on Twitch. I am streaming on YouTube as well, but I find that Twitch is a little bit better as far as communicating with me and being able to communicate back with you. YouTube has a really big delay, sometimes upward of 60 seconds from the time that you send me something to the time that I actually see it. And that's the biggest deal breaker for me when it comes to YouTube. As far as a live stream, I still enjoy streaming on live on YouTube, but my preference is Twitch. But that is the reason why. The reason why is simply because I do it to communicate with you guys. I do it so we can have a nice interaction. And a 60-second delay, sometimes, I'll be jumping off topic, and then by the time I see your comment, we've moved on, and it's like, well, what is that comment relation to? So that is why I do recommend it. I know that Twitch has its issues as well, so that's why I stream to both. But make sure that you guys watch for those, because we are going to be streaming. There's going to be a lot of impromptu. I will tell you that it's the one thing with being a single dad of three, and just all the changes that have happened in my life over the last year, being separated from my wife and whatnot. It's one of those things that it's still hard for me to schedule that kind of stuff, but there will be a lot of impromptu alerts. So make sure that you guys follow the channel. Make sure that you guys are joining me on Discord down below as well. Make sure you guys check that out. There's a link in every single one of my videos to our Discord channel. I always post announcements, things like that, as well as in the community tab here on YouTube. So make sure you guys ring the bell to get notified of future content. Because again, when I go live, 9 times out of 10, it'll be just boom, Overkill's live. So keep an eye out for that. As always, guys, stay safe and healthy. I'll see you in the next one.